Alright mates, let's have a yarn about one of the all-time greats, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. Now, I don't know about you, but this DS gem has got to be one of the best Metroidvania games ever made. It's packed with challenging bosses, a cracking soundtrack, and gameplay that's as addictive as your first Tim Tam. But what makes it so special? And why should you dust off the old DS or fire up an emulator to give it a whirl today? Let's dive in. Dawn of Sorrow rocked up in 2005 as a follow-up to Aria of Sorrow, which was a bloody good game in its own right. But Dawn didn't just rest on its laurels, no. It took what made its predecessor a beauty and cranked it up to 11. Soma Cruz, our hero with the Dracula problem, was back, and this time the Nintendo DS gave the developers a whole new toy box to muck around with. Pixel art? Mate, it's gorgeous. Dracula's castle looks creepy as ever, with stunning details that'll have you stopping just to soak it all in. And let's talk about the soundtrack. Michiru Yamane really outdid herself here. Tracks like Pitch Black Intrusion give you that on the edge of your seat buzz, while others like Demon Castle Pinnacle make you feel like you're storming Dracula's gates yourself. It's the kind of game that grabs you by the scruff and doesn't let go. Now the gameplay is where Dawn of Sorrow really shines, like the Southern Cross on a clear night. It's a Metroidvania through and through. Exploration, backtracking, finding secrets, the whole kit and caboodle. But what really sets it apart is the tactical soul system. This mechanic lets Soma absorb the powers of enemies that he's knocked off, and boy does it make things interesting. There's a heap of strategy involved. Some souls give you straight up brute strength, while others let you pull off moves flashier than a magpie swooping in spring. And the rare ones, they're like finding a $50 note on a pair of old jeans, pure gold. Whether it's nabbing the Iron Golem soul for tanky defense, or Malfa's soul for a double jump, every new ability feels like you've struck pay dirt. So let's get into the bosses, because this game's got some doozies. These fights are no walk in the park, let me tell you. They'll have you pulling your hair out, but in a good way. Like when you're cheering on the underdog at the footy. Take Gurgoth, for example. This big rotten beast stomps through a crumbling tower and you've got to stay on your toes as the floor drops from under you. Then there's Dmitry Blinov, the bloke who copies your every move. You've got to be smarter than your average galah to take him down. But here's the thing, every boss feels fair dinkum. If you cark it, it's because you haven't figured out their patterns yet, not because the game stitched you up. And when you finally take them down, it's like kicking the winning goal in the grand final. Pure euphoria. So what makes all this pain and punishment fun? Well, it's the payoff. The game doesn't baby you at all, but it also doesn't feel like it's having a laugh at your expense. When you finally crack a tough boss or solve a tricky puzzle, it's bloody satisfying. You walk away feeling great. So here's the $1 million question. Why should you revisit Dawn of Sorrow now? Well, for starters, it's pure nostalgia for anyone who grew up with a DS. From the touchscreen quirks to the top-notch pixel art, it's got that old-school charm that takes you back to the mid-2000s. But it's not just about the warm fuzzies. The game holds up because it respects your time. The map's big but not overwhelming, and the backtracking never feels like a chore. Plus, there's always something new to find, a hidden room, a cheeky shortcut, or a rare soul. It's the kind of game where you lose track of time because you're so wrapped up in it. Now, not everyone was chuffed with every aspect of Dawn of Sorrow. The tactical soul system, absolute ripper. The controls, smooth as a schooner of lager. But let's be real, the magic seals was a bit of a head scratcher, that one. Having to draw symbols on a touchscreen to finish off bosses felt like a gimmick then, and it hasn't aged any better. And then there's the anime-style character art, compared to the gothic elegance of previous games. The new look felt a bit, well, bland, like a meat pie without sauce. It gets the job done, but it's missing a bit of flair. But here's the thing about nostalgia. It's not just about what's perfect, it's about what sticks in your mind. The magic seals, the anime art, even the little annoyances, they're all part of what makes Dawn of Sorrow such a unique experience. Replaying it today is like pulling out an old photo album. Sure, there's a few dodgy haircuts here and there, but it's all part of the story. In the grand scheme of things, Dawn of Sorrow isn't just a great Castlevania game, it's a bloody masterpiece. It took the series' best ideas and gave them a fresh spin, creating something that still feels special nearly 20 years later. So whether you're a die-hard fan or someone who missed it back in the day, Give Dawn of Sorrow a crack. Fire it up, get stuck in, and relive one of the best games that the DS had to offer. Trust me, you won't regret it. Alright, that's my take on Dawn of Sorrow. What about you? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Have you never played it? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on more retro gaming yarns. Cheers for watching, and I'll catch you next time.